trust is a fragile glass. Once shattered, it becomes 1,000 jagged edges that cut deep into the soul. There is no pain quite like betrayal, the moment you realize the hand you held was the same one holding the knife. Most men are destroyed by this. They become bitter, paranoid, and weak. But 2,000 years ago, a man named Seneca faced the ultimate betrayal. He was ordered to die by the very emperor he had mentored and protected. In his final moments, he didn't scream. He didn't beg. He stood like an iron pillar in a collapsing house. Today, we dissect the iron will of Seneca to learn how to survive when the world turns against you. Welcome to the sovereign order. Prepare to become unbreakable. The reason betrayal hurts so much is the element of surprise. You didn't see it coming. Seneca taught a dark but necessary tool called Premeditatio Malorum, the premeditation of evils. The sovereign does not live in a fantasy world where everyone is loyal. He knows that human nature is volatile. He expects the betrayal before it happens. This isn't pessimism, it is strategic armor. Seneca warned that we should imagine every possible disaster: the loss of fortune, the death of friends, and the sting of treachery. When you have already faced the betrayal in your mind, the reality of it cannot break you. You have already bled in your imagination, so you do not bleed in the streets. To survive betrayal, you must stop being shocked by the predictable patterns of human weakness. Premeditation is not paranoia, it is preparation. It is the sovereign's way of stripping betrayal of its venom before the strike lands. Betrayal only has power over you if you believe you own the loyalty of others. Seneca argued that the only thing you truly own is your mind. Everything else, your reputation, your friends, your family, is on loan from fate. When someone betrays you, they are simply returning what was never yours to begin with. The sovereign practices detachment. You value loyalty, but you do not depend on it. Your worth is not tied to how others treat you. It is tied to how you treat yourself. By letting go of the need for others to be good, you gain the freedom to be great. They took your trust, but they cannot take your sovereignty unless you give it to them. Detachment is not coldness, it is clarity. It is the recognition that betrayal is not the theft of your soul, but the exposure of theirs. Seneca was one of the richest and most powerful men in Rome, yet he lived as if he could lose it all in a second. He knew that the more you have to lose, the more fear has a grip on you. Iron will is built in the moments of peace, not the moments of war. You must practice being betrayed by small things so you can survive the big ones. When a small promise is broken, observe your reaction. Do you flare up? Do you seek revenge? Or do you remain as still as a statue? Betrayal is the ultimate test of your Stoic foundation. If you collapse when a friend lies, your foundation was made of sand. Seneca's will was made of iron because he understood that the person who betrays you is actually suffering more than you. They have lost their integrity, while you have only lost a false friend. The sovereign sees betrayal not as destruction, but as revelation. It reveals who is weak, and it reveals whether you are strong. Imagine Rome at its height, marble palaces gleaming under the sun, senators whispering in shadowed corridors, and the constant hum of ambition vibrating through the empire. In this world, betrayal was not an exception, it was the rule. Every alliance was temporary, every promise fragile, every smile concealing a dagger. Seneca knew this better than anyone. He understood that betrayal is not a single event, it is a recurring trial, a fire that tests the purity of your iron will. Each time you are deceived, each time loyalty collapses, you are placed back into the furnace. The weak man melts under the heat, reshaped by bitterness and paranoia. The sovereign, however, hardens. He becomes sharper, more resilient, more dangerous. Seneca taught that life itself is a courtroom, and betrayal is the cross-examination of your soul. Will you contradict yourself under pressure? Will you abandon your principles when the knife enters your back? Or will you remain consistent, unshaken, and immovable? The sovereign answers betrayal not with rage, but with refinement. Every act of treachery is a mirror. It reflects not only the weakness of the betrayer, but also the strength, or fragility, of the betrayed. If you collapse, the betrayal has succeeded twice. Once in the act and once in your reaction. But if you stand firm, the betrayal becomes powerless. It becomes nothing more than a failed attempt to move a mountain. This is why Seneca's iron will was legendary. He did not see betrayal as the theft of trust, but as the sharpening of resolve. He believed that the man who survives treachery without losing his virtue is greater than the man who never faced treachery at all. For storms do not test the strength of glass, they test the strength of iron. The sovereign must therefore welcome betrayal as the ultimate trial. It is the universe's way of asking, are you truly unbreakable? The average man reacts to betrayal with noise. He shouts, he seeks revenge, he tries to balance the scales of pain. By doing this, he gives the betrayer exactly what they want, power over his emotions. The sovereign understands a darker, more effective strategy. The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Seneca argued that your silence is the loudest response possible. When you remain unmoved, you force the betrayer to live with their own guilt without the satisfaction of seeing you broken. You don't just survive the betrayal, you transcend it. Your indifference is the ultimate psychological weapon. Silence is not weakness, it is dominance. It is the refusal to let another man dictate the rhythm of your soul. The end of Seneca's life was the ultimate test of his philosophy. Nero, the emperor he once advised, accused him of conspiracy and ordered his suicide. It was the ultimate betrayal of a life's work. As the guards stood by, Seneca remained calm. He even comforted his weeping friends, asking them, "Where are the maxims of your philosophy? Where is the preparation of so many years against misfortunes to come?" He didn't see Nero as a monster. He saw him as a tool of fate used to test his iron will. This is the highest level of sovereignty, to see your executioner not as an enemy, but as a part of the nature of things. Seneca's death was not defeat, it was demonstration. He proved that betrayal cannot kill a man whose soul is already free. Betrayal often leads to isolation, and isolation often leads to fear. But Seneca taught that solitude is where the iron will is forged. When the world turns its back on you, you are finally left alone with the only person who matters, yourself. Use this time to inspect the foundations of your character. If you are content with your own company, no one can punish you by leaving. You are no longer a social animal begging for loyalty. You are a sovereign entity that provides its own light. The man who can be happy in a prison cell is more powerful than the king who is afraid of his own shadow. Solitude is not emptiness, it is empowerment. It is the silence in which the sovereign hears the voice of his own strength. The knife in your back was meant to kill your spirit, but it only cut away the parts of you that were still weak. Every betrayal is a pruning of your social circle and an invitation to deeper self-reliance. Stop mourning the loyalty of ghosts. Stop looking for honor in those who have none. Look inward. Build your iron will so that the next time the glass shatters, you don't feel the cuts. You simply walk over the shards. Every betrayal is a lesson. Every wound is a doorway. Every scar is a crown. If you have been betrayed and you chose to rise instead of break, type iron will in the comments. Let the order see the pillars that refuse to fall. Subscribe to the sovereign order. Master your mind. Command your world.